Hey you guys, it's Dr. Wright again, and I'm back. This is the follow-up to the earlier Facebook Live. Not a happy Facebook Live, but something I think we should definitely talk about as a community. I don't live in San Bernardino, but I live near San Bernardino, and I live in San Bernardino County. So uh, all of this stuff that's happening is happening not far from where I live in what I consider to be my Inland Empire community. So, for those of you that don't know, we had another shooting here, and the shooting was in a school. So, this wasn't a drive-by or anything. What happened was, is a man came into the school where his wife worked as a teacher. Hey, Cecilia. His wife worked as a teacher, signed in. The person who saw him didn't see any weapons, and he was her husband. He had been there to the school before. And he signed in, hey, Alyssa. Um, he signed in, went to her classroom. Hey, Pierre. Went to her classroom and then shot the teacher. From what the witnesses are saying, he didn't really say anything. He didn't say, hey. He didn't start screaming at her. They didn't start fighting and fussing. He just, boom, just shot her. There was a child behind her who got shot and passed away. There was another child near her who was shot. He's in surgery, and he is still alive. He's just, he's there. Then the gunman shot himself. I watched the press conference. The police did a really good press conference today. The reporter, I don't know which reporter this was. I'll have to go back and listen. But one of the reporters asked the police chief if did he reload after the last shot, and the police chief was like, well, he shot himself. I don't know how he was supposed to reload after he killed himself, but I guess the reporter had to say something. Maybe that reporter, maybe their job was in jeopardy. I don't know. So they evacuated the schools. And it is sad. Pierre said sad things happening in the world. So they evacuated the schools, and just that school. They sent the kids to another school, and then parents had to be notified, and then parents had to come to the school, then the parents had to go to the other school. I'm sure that was horrible for the parents. I'm sure it was horrible for the kids. And this classroom was a special ed classroom. That's right, special education classroom. So they're going to have an even harder time. So anybody would have a hard time sorting through this, but they're going to have a harder time sorting through this. They have the name of the teacher. It's so sad, Lisa, it is. They have the name of the teacher. They did confirm that it was domestic violence, that they feel it was domestic violence. Here's the kicker. Hey, Sonia, I'm glad you're back on the air with me. Here's the kicker. So when you're looking at people who are suffering from domestic abuse and they're killed, that's not the first time, okay? Domestic abuse escalates. It starts with a punch and a shove and a kick. And then it escalates more and more and more until, the woman is killed. And it's sad because they lived in Riverside. So they did not live in the city of San Bernardino or even in San Bernardino County, because Riverside is, for those of you who don't know, Riverside is a nearby county. But I feel like, it's all part of the Inland Empire. And the thing is that she missed out on some mental health care. And he definitely missed out on some mental health care. He definitely had some mental problems going on. At the point that you calmly get a gun, drive to a school, sign in with people who know who you are, walk into a classroom and blow somebody away, that is a high level of mental illness. And I don't blame the person who signed him in. They're not mental health experts. Okay? Now, I've said it before, maybe they're going to start making school nurses sign people in and out so they can kind of check people and kind of be alert as to what's going on. Hey, Kim. But the deal is that we have to address mental health issues in our community. We have to address mental health issues. The new health care bill that they've been trying to get through has zero mental health care in it. You do not get any mental health care. So if you can't afford to pay for it, you won't get it. That's not good for any community. We have to step up the mental health care resources in all communities. Elisa says, I think that a lot of people are missing the point in the fact that there are a lot of people out there with mental health issues. I think so too. I agree with you. Here we are in 2017, Alyssa says, and it's something that is not being talked about. And I agree with you. People are not talking about it. People are not paying attention to it. And people are definitely not allotting resources to it. There's a new campaign I saw out with some actors saying, it's okay to talk about it, but there's still a great stigma. It's hard for people that, have an open history of mental illness. It's hard for them to get work. It's hard for them to, get over the stigma. It's hard for them to deal with a lot of things. So this is tough. We lost a teacher, a resource for handicapped children. What's the rest of their year going to be like? We lost a resource to our community. I don't know either of these people. I couldn't say whether they were good or bad. I don't know if she was a good teacher. I don't know if he was a good guy up until this point. But I do know he definitely had some mental health issues. Elisa J. Green says most of the shootings outside of the police shootings are mental health cases. Yeah. And we as a community have to come together and start thinking about that. We have to start making a place for people to be safe and people to share whatever it is they want to share. We have to start talking about what we're going to do to help people. We have to start making resources. And, it's not about just writing a petition and we're going to talk about it and blah, blah, blah. It's about what are we really going to do? I mean, what are we really going to do? This person walked into a school full of children, elementary school children. Alyssa says, and sad to say, in the same breath, police shootings too. Sure, yes, we have that problem, and I'm not downplaying that problem either. Police shootings have a problem, as I said earlier in the day. San Bernardino has definitely had, some challenges in that area. A lot of their police officers don't live in San Bernardino. That makes a little friction in the community. When people who work and serve in your community don't live in your city, there's problems. There's problems there. I know the cops that live not too far away. And yet, my mailbox still got broken into. Go figure. But the point is, we definitely have a gap in mental health services. We need to start thinking about that. We need to start thinking about how we can provide it. Again, the update is, unfortunately, one of the children that was shot has passed away. And the shooter is shot himself, so he's not here. There was one child who's recovering. But the challenges for the rest of the year are going to be tough. I feel sorry for the principal. I feel sorry for the people that let him in school. I feel sorry for everybody. It's going to be a tough year. Sonia Lewis says mental health is a sickness, and if we don't start talking about and get the help to people, it is going to get worse. I agree with you. I don't, the pressures of today's society are very different. I don't know if there's more mentally ill people now than there used to be. I don't know. I don't know how that works. But this brings a light to the fact that we don't have enough services. The homeless people, that brings a light to the fact that we don't have enough services. There's just different things that show, hey, we don't have enough services. We don't have enough services. We're not helping people. We're watching our community and just saying, oh, we'll beef up the police. And because this wasn't a drive-by at the school. This wasn't gang members rolling up on the school. So I don't know that putting in a metal detector is going to make a difference. Because when they confronted him about the gun under a metal detector, he could have shot the people there too. It's a lot of sadness. So the Inland Empire, you got to pray for San Bernardino, and we've got to start allotting resources where they should be. And some of the places that we need to allot resources in our community are for mental health. And mentally ill can't speak up for themselves. So somebody has to do it. I don't know. It's just it's really sad. It's really sad. And yes, San Bernardino seems like they just went through this, 2 years ago. But that was terrorists, and that was a little bit different. This is someone who left his home to go to his wife's job to kill his wife, and then himself. And on the way, took down an innocent child that had nothing to do with any of it. And I think that that's terrifying. I don't know how those kids are going to walk back in the room, back in the school. I got to be honest. If it was me, I would be like, yeah, my kids now go to a different school. We're going to a different school. We're not going back there. Not because it's unsafe, but because the memories, the trauma, that's just, I don't know, that's horrible. Anyway, if you have any questions and suggestions, you can inbox me. I'll be, giving you some updates over the weekend. I don't know if I'll be doing a crowdfunding for them or not, but at this point, it's not really on the table. But I don't know. We got to start looking at some solutions. We got to start looking out for people. Hey, Adrian, we got to start really paying attention. When people are having trouble, we got to start saying something. There are other people that knew he was on the edge. Okay, they didn't live in a bubble. There are people who knew she was being abused. Now, maybe she refused help. I don't know. I don't know what the situation was that she wasn't getting help. But there are people who knew. And I believe other teachers are mandated reporters. I don't know, maybe Elisa could tell me that. But I think that teachers are mandated reporters. They're supposed to report abuse. So somewhere we let her down. I know you're supposed to report abuse on children, but you have to report abuse on everybody. You can't be walking around every day. Hey, Ian, can't be walking around every day watching somebody who suffered from abuse and you just don't say anything. I think people were supposed to say something. We let her down. Riverside let her down, and San Bernardino let her down. Because obviously this stuff was going on, and nobody said anything. This guy had some problems. He had some mental issues. He drove up. He had to drive. This wasn't he got mad at the house and pulled out a gun and shot her. This was he got his gun from his house or wherever his gun was, drove from Riverside to her school, and went to her job to visit her like he was just going to pick up the extra car keys. All calm. He wasn't yelling. He wasn't. So he's been doing this for a while. And Ian, I know you probably know, I was telling them earlier before you got on, that abuse escalates. Guys don't start with the knockout punch in the elevator. They start with a push, a shove, a slap, a kick. And then it escalates over time to something like this. It escalates, hey, Ann, Thank you for joining the video. It escalates and it starts being something after a while. Just grows and grows and grows. So this has been going on for we don't know how long, but somehow we let her down by not having, you know. Adrian says, my abuser was bipolar and had some other mental issues. Okay. So, yeah, maybe he was bipolar, but even when we see people who are bipolar, we see them on the ups and downs. You know, if you're around somebody long enough, even though they're bipolar, I knew somebody that she was in business, she was a business associate, and she was bipolar. And of course, I would mostly see her on her up days, because when she was on her down days, she would just be sleeping for days and days and days at a time. And then wouldn't really remember the stuff she had done in business. It's just super crazy. So even if he was bipolar, there are people that were seeing him. He had a job. He wasn't sitting at home twiddling his thumbs. It says they were only married 3 months and separated most of the time. But they got married. I mean, they were separated most of that time. So she was trying to get away, but obviously she needed more help than what she was getting to get away, because she didn't get away far enough. She did not get away far enough. And this just didn't have to happen. This didn't have to happen. Adrian says, and after so long that she became sick, she became part of the sick psychotic episodes. So Adrian was saying that she was with a bipolar abuser, and after a while she became part of that. Sonia says, to be completely honest, as a veteran, my meds and talking to my therapist helped me through all of my trials on a daily basis. If I was not getting some type of help, who knows what my life would be like. It says for me to click down to see more. Who knows what my life would be like today? And Adrian says, yes, she did. I left and still went back. Okay, so, and thank you for your service, Sonia, and being a veteran. You know, veterans do have resources. They have a lot of resources. If you guys don't know John Curry, you need to connect with him. He helps veterans with those kind of resources. That's literally his job at Loma Linda. And International Reach and Teach has a Facebook group that you guys can check out. And whether you want to be of assistance or whether you want to get assistance, that's a good place to go. They're based here in Southern California. But here's the thing, is that, you know, she needed more help than that. He still came and found her and shot her, and that was just, did not have to happen. So we're so sad for the loss of our community. We're super sad for the parents of the loss of their little boy. That's just the most horrendous thing a parent has to deal with, is the death of their own child. And so it's really pretty sad. But I just think from this, instead of petitions and just clicking links and saying we hate domestic violence, it's really time to step up and do something. It's really time for us to add some resources to the community. It's really time to figure out some better ways. I mean, how can we serve people? I mean, yes, we can't make people go to treatment. And when people leave and go back, you know, I don't know what you can do to get someone to leave and stay. I don't know what's happening in their mind when they're going back. But we have to find, my heart hurts. Yeah. It's tough. It's just terrible, terrible, terrible. So we need more professionals. We need more people. We need more. People who are mentally ill and need mental health issues cannot speak for themselves. Period. They can't. They can't speak for themselves. So we got to get on board and do something different. So I just wanted to update you and just say yes. The casualty, we have had a casualty. The little boy has passed away. We lost a teacher for handicapped youth. And we've traumatized, at minimum, a whole school, if not the whole San Bernardino community. At minimum, we've traumatized that school, those teachers, those parents. It's a lot. It's a lot. Adrian says, because the system failed me, that's how I ended up going back. So we don't have, and maybe that's what happened to her too, we don't have a complete system where they can leave. So the system, the bridge to get over and to get out isn't complete. It's halfway there. Maybe if you're strong enough to jump that gap, you can get away, but it's not really there. Adrian says, no compassion from the system that they are placed in that's supposed to help. No compassion. So maybe the systems that are in place are run by the wrong people. Someone who's trying to get away from domestic abuse is not a criminal. Let me say that again. Someone trying to get away from a domestic abuser, that person is not the criminal. The abuser is the criminal. It's time to change the system. It's time to put some real things in place. It's time to do what we need to do to help people. This is about life, like for real life. That little boy died, didn't have to die, didn't have to be there, had nothing to do with what's going on. Nothing to do with what was happening between those two people, and now he's gone. And now his parents have to bury him and try to go on with their life. Adrian says, no, because they have people who are there just for a paycheck. So probably when it comes to dealing with people who are dealing with domestic abuse, we probably need to hire people who that's the calling, that's their heart, that's what they really want to do. Or put together a system that works like that. That's how it's got to be. So I just wanted to update you and continue to keep the city in prayer, and we'll see what happens. I have a couple of meetings tomorrow, and we'll see how the community is coming together. If you do see a GoFundMe page or a fundraising page, as always, you need to super double check that it's actually connected to the people that they claim are getting the money. There are scams out there where people will set up GoFundMe pages for people and then just take the money and run off. Matter of fact, there was a couple in Santa Clarita. Their little boy had been hit by a car and he was in the hospital, and the neighbor across the street said, hey, can I set up a GoFundMe for you? And they were like, yeah, we're so busy, doing all this. Go ahead and do it. She raised a couple of $1,000s and then wouldn't give them the money. They had to go to court to get it from her. Ridiculous. So before you give, make sure you know who this is and what it is, because I guarantee you there's some people that's going to try to take advantage of this situation, and you got to watch out for that. Sonia says the law needs to be tougher on the abuser. I agree, but until we have more women making laws and more women doing stuff, that's not going to happen. And not that men don't get abused. Women do abuse men, but the laws and the thoughts are highly trained the other way. They immediately come into a situation and think the man is the perpetrator. At the same time, not a lot is happening. Not a lot is happening. I don't know how to explain it. All I can say is we need to have some more women legislators. That would help. I don't know. It's so sad. It just makes my head hurt. All right. Well, I'm going to end it for now. We'll see you guys later in the week. Lots of other behind-the-scenes stuff going on. Okay? All right. You guys have a great day. Show some love and compassion to people. Adrian says, So you'd be surprised there are judges who give custody to the children to the abusers because, and then it becomes more vicious. Yeah, that's, I know that happens a lot. It happens a lot. All right, you guys, have a great night. And keep your ears open for that person that you think is suffering, having some mental issues, so you can be there. Remember, ignoring one's conscience is neither safe nor right. I'll see you next time. Love you too, Adrian.